everybody, and welcome back to Basic Build 2 Part 2. Now a quick overview of what we did on the last video. Now the last video we did the gable end, which we have in front of us now. Now we're going to need to build another gable end, but not with the big hole in the middle. Still it's going to have a door that end as well, so I'll get all set up, sorted out, and we'll get building the other gable. Right, now gable 2 hopefully should be a lot easier than gable 1. We're going to start off with our panels, which, if you remember, we used 2 of the 3 brick sections in the middle, which very quick and easy to do, and then another panel. So that's what we need to build up. So we're going to need two panels high, which are going to be 2 tacks in on the brain, like so, and finish it off with another panel. Now that actually brings us up to our plate height for our roof. So that's where the actual roof level comes. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get these glued together, but first I'm going to get a bit of cling film put down. I'm going to get these glued together, and then I'll come back to you and we'll work on the next section. Right, we've got the bottom half glued together, no problems at all, just straightforward panels. Now moving up, we're going to do 2 panels that side, and then we're going to use 2 of these 3 brick sections as just a spacer, just to space the gap, because we need that gap for a door, exactly the same way as what we did the other end. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to glue that one and that one, this one and this one, but I'm not going to glue this edge here. So I'm going to get on and get these glued up, and I shall be back with you in a second. We've had a little bit of time for that to go off, so we're going to remove these pieces in the middle, like so. If you remember on the last video, we actually worked out our distance that we would need, how many courses of bricks, and it's 4. So I've already cut 2 pieces here of 4 courses high, which I'm now going to put in here when I get them around the right way. We're going to put no, we're not. We ain't got them around the right way. It's that one. So that one goes in there, and then this one goes in there like so, which I will glue in a second. And also what I'm going to do as well is count up 24 courses, which is there, and I'm going to remove that one at 24, and we're actually going to put a lintel in. Now the lintel is just 2 pieces of our, I can't remember the size of it now, totally gone, I'll have to measure that again. It's 5.2 by 2.5. So it's 2 pieces of that just glued together. That will make our lintel up, which I will cut to fit across there. So I'm going to get on and get that done, and when I've done that I'll come back to you. Now I've glued them 2 pieces in, and I've cut and fitted the lintel. Now before the actual lintel dries off, what I'm actually going to do is use 2 of these 3 brick pier sections, and I'm actually going to fill in this top half, so it's actually got something to so I can actually glue against that lintel so it doesn't move. So I'm just going to glue them in there like so, and I will be back with you shortly. 2 top pieces have been glued in, nice and dry now, and we go back now to doing the infills either side of the door, and we're going to do it using the 1.5 bricks. This comes out of the pier mould as well, and also you get them on the end of your moulds that you do the actual panels with. And we're very simply just going to offer it up, that's the right way, and simply just snip them back. I've done this on the other video, so I'm hoping you remember on that. So we're just going to snip them back like so, and then glue them in place, one that side and one's that side. So I'll get on with that and get that done. Now I've fitted the two inserts for the door, and now we could dial in all the numbers that we did last time on 2 panels high, then putting a piece of timber and working out to actually start cutting our pitch. I am simply, as we've already made one, I'm just going to place this one on top and use this as a template. Now if you're watching this for the first time and you didn't see this one being built, you'll have to go back to the very first one and watch that one. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to level that up, and then I am going to use that as my template to mark up my roof angles. Simple as that. Put that to one side. Right, I have my roof angles, so all I need to do now is we need to fill in this top bit, which is very simply done using these bits here, all these little offcuts that we've got. We will get them fitted in there and there. We'll probably have to use 2 full bits at the top, like so, and another piece on the other side there. So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to glue them on, and then I'll come back to you. Now I've glued them pieces on the top just to finish it off. Now while they're drying, there's no more we can actually do on the actual gable end, but we can start backfilling. So what I'm going to do now is I'll get myself some full panels, and I'm just going to take these teeth off, which I will do off camera because they ping all over the place. We'll just take that off. So then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put them level with that edge, because we need the outside panel to come in there, like so. So if I just demonstrate, so that needs to come up to that outside panel. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut that one and that one. I'm still going to use a full panel across the bottom to bridge them, and I'm going to do a cut this side. The simple reason is I have a few of these panels with that are chipped and broke, so I can actually cut them down and actually use them up, save wasting them. So that's the reason why I'm going to use full panels and a cut into this corner. So I'm going to get on with that, and I shall be back with you very shortly. I've put these backing bits on. I've just left these in just to show you that I've just used these panels, slotted them into the front edge, just so I've got something to actually push my panel against, so I know I'm in line. It's not hugely critical that you actually get them spot on, because if you look at that, the next panel is actually going to be sitting on the back of that, so it will actually be covering that joint. So if it's not perfect, don't panic about it. So I'm going to leave this all to dry now, because I really can't do anything on this now for a few hours. So I'm going to go off, have a cup of tea, and I shall be back with you shortly. Now the glue's gone off, I've cut the 2 gables in, so that's all finished. Now we can move on to actually backing this up. So I'm going to put one full panel there, another full panel there, and these panels I've already taken the teeth off, so I can just put a panel in this end here and it slots in, so I can just push that up and make sure we're still in line. The same with this side. Now I've got a couple of little bits here, 4 courses high, which are going to go into this centre bit just here. Now what I'll do is I'll get that glued in and then I shall come back to you. Okay, these bottom bits have been put in. They all line up with the panel. Let's put that in there so we know that all fits nicely. Now moving on, I am just going to fill in with full panels. I've already cut the bits out, so one's going to sit in there. Two of the 3-course pier pieces will sit in there. I'm keeping that top level to put that piece in as well on that side. I've just cut out for the lintel because I'm going to use this little triangle bit which I'm going to glue on the top just to finish everything off. I'll also be doing the inside of this with the bricks like I did earlier, where I actually just cut them off, if you remember, and then they will go into there like so, just to finish the inside of the door off. So I'm going to get that lot done and then I'm going to leave it to dry overnight, so in the morning I can cut all this off and it will be the gable actually finished. Okay, the gable is now finished. Now I've cut, as you can see, the edges off of the pieces that I put on, well, it was last night actually, and also I've lined out the actual door opening. I just used a piece of 1mm by 6mm wide balsa wood, and we've just glued that on the inside just to actually make the frame. If we just turn it around that way, so that's all complete now. Now we have actually got 2 completed gable ends. Now if I just move across here, that's the other gable end, and if we lay them on top we have 2 identical ones, which is fantastic. So the 2 gable ends are finished, and now we'll move on to the next step. Now the 2 gable ends are finished, now we move on to the actual side wall, which is going to be solid, and it's going to be very quick assembly. I actually did state at the beginning that I was going to go 4 panels. Now 4 panels is going to look it's going to look a bit big, so what I'm actually going to do is use my pier sections again, and I'm just going to make it 3 1/4. Keep it all nice and equal. We've got 2 1/4 on the front, we'll make it 3 1/4 on the side, and it's literally going to be that length. And what I shall do now is we're going to do it's 2 panels high. We'll go over the top of that one, and we've got another section here which we will put in like so, and also I've got a broken bit which we can actually use up, so we'll put that bit in like so. Once it's glued in, you'll never know it's there, and finish it with another full section. So that is going to be the back wall. So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get this all glued up and leave it to dry, and then I shall come back to you and we'll get on with the backfill. Bit of a close-up shot now. The panel is dry and I need to start backing this up. Now I've put it close for the simple reason is I just want to show you this bit here. Now I've actually drawn a line all the way through. Now the gable end, both gable ends, because this sits into the actual 2 gable ends, consists of 2 panels thickness. Now that means it's a brick depth. So what I've done here is I've glued 2 panels together. If I can show you that, I've glued 2 panels together, but I've taken the teeth off one panel and aligned it up to the edge of the teeth on both sides. Now this has made me a little jig, So now I can slot that onto the end of the panel, like so. We can do one of two things. We can use that to draw a line, so that is the depth, well, that's as far as you can actually go with your panels when we start backing up. Or you can leave it in place, then get your first panel, take the teeth off, glue it in, and then position it against that, like so, glue it in, remove that, and that then is going to give you your step. So when we come to put the gable in, it fits nice and snug. So that's what I'm going to do now. I shall put you on pause and pull you back a bit. Okay, the way this is going to work is if I place my little jig at the end and hold it in place, and in great Blue Peter fashion I have a piece that's already glued up. Now all we're going to do is use that as our guide, hold the whole two together, a little bit of a press to hold that in position, like so, and then we're just going to remove that. So that is the first piece glued in. Now I'm just going to glue in all the way across till I get to this end, and then I'll come back to you. Right, I've glued all them sections on. Now as you can see, this little jig fits very neatly into them bits there, so we know that it's going to accept into the gable ends. Now these bits at the end, exactly the same. Use your marks to actually mark up. If you just get your piece, place it in, then mark up where you've got your marks. Then I've already dry fitted and I've got glue on this piece, and it's just a matter of inserting your piece in, just checking to make sure it all fits nice, and also check the back side of the edge of these bricks just to make sure that they are level with this edge, which I can't show you because I can't get the camera around there. But if you check that edge, if they're all nice and level, then everything's okay. Now I've just got one more piece to cut and put in, which I've got there. Now I'm going to get that glued in, and then this is going to be left to dry. Right, the back wall has been completed, it's nice and dry. We now can actually use it in the assembly. Now we've got our three pieces, we've got the back wall and the two gable ends. Now before I go any further, I will explain to you that this barn is not going to have a floor. I'm not actually going to construct any floor for this barn. The simple reason is I would like to put this directly onto my board, and I want to do a rough surface, i.e. hardcore, a few cobblestones, bits and pieces like that. I don't want no block paving or slabs to actually go on the floor of this. So because I'm not putting a floor into this barn, it's going to prove to be a few little problems. Now you can get the three sides put together, but it's going to be very, very delicate trying to move it, trying to work on it, and just generally getting it finished, and also keeping it nice and square all the time. So what I'm actually going to do, we'll take this away for a second, and I think I've got a bit of paper. Yes, we've got some paper there. What I'm actually going to do, if I just turn the camera down a touch just so you can see, is I'm going to make myself a little jig to actually set everything out and keep it in position while I work on it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut a piece of MDF. MDF, for the simple reason is I've got MDF in the shed. No point of going out and buying things. It's 18mm thick. The length of it's going to be roughly 400, and the width of it's going to be about 280. Now what I'm actually going to do is first screw a piece of timber down one side using my square, or actually the roofing tee which is there. Then I'll be teeing off and drawing a line across the back and putting another piece of timber full length cut the screws in that to hold it in place, because this is only a temporary jig that I will be using. The theory being is that one gable will sit along that edge, then the back wall will sit along this edge here, and then I shall have another piece of timber which I won't fit until I'm ready to fit it, but the second gable will sit down here. And the idea being is that I would like to trap the wall in between two pieces of timber, so I'll cut some more bits of timber to go on the inside, like so, like so, like that. So we've got a wall sat in between, we've got the blocks of wood holding it against this edge, the blocks of wood holding everything in nice and tight, nice and square, and it's going to make it so much easier to work on because we've still got a front wall to put on. We need to do the roof and that, and this also means that I can actually put this onto my little turntable. I can rotate it round and get to most corners and angles without too much stress. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go off now, I'm going to get some timber cut, I'll get this made up, then I'll come back and let you see what it looks like, and we'll run through putting these pieces in and getting this actually assembled up. Okay, I've made up my base, 18mm MDF. This measures in at 300 by 400. The reason being, when I went into the shed, this bit was there, it measured that, so I never bothered having to cut any. I've just put my timbers running round. I have set this one, and I've set it allowing a very tiny bit of movement for the actual barn. I can actually pack that up, but the way this is going to work, excuse my big arms, is back panel, front gable, front gable should I say. That will slot in there. I ain't going to push it in just yet because I need to do a little bit of fettling. And this is the far gable, like so. So that means now that I can, once that's assembled, I can work on this all the way around with no problems. Now I am going to cut some blocks to go in the inside, but I'm not going to do that not until I get the corners glued in, so I know exactly what size blocks to fit in here, because I'm going to need quite a long one to go along this front, but I've got to allow for when I start building this front wall. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put some cling film in this because I don't want anything sticking to the wood because it's be impossible to get it back out again. I'm going to put some cling film on, and I'm going to assemble these up, get the corners all glued in, and then I should come back to you just before I put the blocks in the bottom. Now this is one of the things that I was sort of worried about when I started this. This front gable totally collapsed on me when I was trying to do it in. I just caught it and it broke because there's nothing really holding it. But I can recover from it, I can get this all sorted out. I know it looks a pile at the moment of debris, but we can recover. Start off with all the pieces are broken where the joints are, which is nice. So I've glued my first piece in, I'm going to leave that to dry, stand this upwards, and then reassemble that gable end. Now, disaster averted, should I say. I'm quite happy now. I've managed to get all this front back together again. Wasn't too difficult. Luckily it broke on the joints, so it was just a matter of cleaning up and repositioning. Now I did say that I would come back to you before I fitted these back bits. Unfortunately I had to put these bits in to hold everything stable so I could get this gable end finished off. But as you can see, they're holding the walls in place and they're holding the walls against these back timbers. As you can see, we've got a nice straight line all the way down there. We'll turn it all the way around there. And as you can see, another nice straight line. And if you look, them gables are spot on. I'm quite happy with that. Everything's nice and square and true, so I'm very pleased. Same with the front. We can just turn that a little bit. Same with the front, that's nice and straight as well, and this gable. So all in all, a good recovery, and I'm quite happy with the way it's turned out so far. Now, I will be putting this to one side. I'm going to leave it for a couple of days to properly dry off, so I can actually get back to work on it, because I would like to start on this front section and get everything sort of stabilized up. That won't be coming until the next video. For say, simple reason is I'm going to put this to one side for a couple of days. So with that, all I can say now is a big thank you for joining me, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.